And see, if you really want to develop yourself as a leader, particularly as a woman, you need to invest in your development.
Quickly, organizations, yes, benefits from strong mentorship and sponsorship culture if you are able to increase the engagements, and then you grow individuals within the line.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on which side of the globe you are watching us from. This is Global Leadership Group, our leadership monthly talk show time. Global Leadership Group, we are a group very much interested in building capacity of potential leaders or already made leaders or those who really want to be leaders. We train them. We do strategic training for companies also. Our main aim or our main goal is to see big strength in leaders, because we believe if the leaders are solid, then it is very easy for them to lead their group, their targets, and all that will be met without much problem. So for this evening, we have our guest speakers. I'll introduce them in no particular order. We have Mr. Frederick Nana Kwesi Ejari, and then later I'll be introducing Chaplain Nana Kofi Nimako. They will be talking on our carefully selected topic, which is the creative leader, cultivating innovation and original thinking. Wow. Okay, so I'll introduce Mr. Frederick Nana Kwesi Ejari. Mr. Nana Kwesi Ejari embodies the very spirit of creative leadership, a transformative thinker, a digital strategist, and a voice for innovation in both corporate and civic spaces. Frederick Nana Kwesi Asari, widely known as Nana Asari, is an experienced IT manager at Dangote Industries Limited, where he has served in various technical and leadership roles for over 11 years. With more than 14 years of professional experience across systems administration, project management, network engineering, and sub business support, Nana Kwesi Esari brings a deep understanding of how innovation can thrive within structured systems. He is not only a tech leader, but also a purpose driven visionary. Nana is the mind behind Open Tax Ghana, a civic tech initiative designed to promote transparency and accountability in Ghana's tax system, a bold move to bridge digital innovation and social impact. Currently pursuing an MBA in project management, Nana Asari is passionate about organizational development, youth mentorship, and the power of storytelling in reshaping how we lead. He is also known for his interest in faith based empowerment, community service, and lifelong learning. As a guest on today's show, Nana Asari will be sharing insights on how creative leaders can challenge traditional norms, overcome fear, and develop innovations that are not only original but also meaningful and marketable. Please join me in welcoming our very special guests. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for such an honorable introduction, and I really appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again, listeners.
Sorry,
And
I mentioned your first
good
name,
evening.
your name wrongly. I apologize. That's
Yes, I saw along the way. It's Asari. Yeah, Nana Asari.
yes, please. Yes, please.
Mm.
Sorry. Okay. So without wasting much time, resume to the topic: the creative leader, cultivating innovation and original thinking. So, Mr. Sari, In
Yeah.
your experience, what distinguishes a truly creative leader from a traditional one?
So I may not bother you with much explanation or definition of what a leader is, and I know most of our listeners and viewers here really understand leadership, be theoretically and practically. At least I know most of them can define what a leader is and who a leader is. But as the topic suggests today, we are looking at a creative leader. And the question is, how do we distinguish between a creative leader from a traditional leader? We have two kind of leaders here. We have the creative leader and a traditional leader. I would say a truly creative leader is defined not just by their ideas, but by their courage to challenge the status quo. Their ability to challenge what we already know, ability to challenge standards, and the humility to invite others to into the creative process. They can challenge the standard and they have the humility to invite people into the creative process. While when we are looking at the traditional leader, often traditional leaders often prioritize efficiency, predictability, and adherence to best practice. Creative leaders embrace ambiguity and exploration. They cultivate environments where new ideas can emerge, even if those ideas initially seemed impractical. They also are emotionally intelligent, able to, assess those they are working with their emotional intelligence, can connect with people's passion, and create psychological safety in exploring the creative aspects of people. Their success is not just in what they produce, but in how they ignite original thinking in others. With their emotional intelligence, they can spark your, original thinking process. They are not much confined with standards and processes, but they like to explore new ideas. They like to create safety net for people who need to explore their ideas. So, in a short way, I think my explanation here can really distinguish between who the traditional leader is and the true creative leader is. One thing I've people emotionally for people when they are exploring their creative abilities. So I think this my explanation can make the question you asked me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your response. So, is how can leaders foster a culture of innovation without
Yes,
sacrificing structure and accountability?
exactly.
Hmm.
Hello. I
Hello, Miss Asari. Hello. 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 Please, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Please, I was asking, how can leaders foster a
Question.
culture of
If I may. Okay, culture of innovation without sacrificing structure and
account?
accountability.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
The key lies in establishing structure freedom. The structure you can give the freedom of you. In creative ways, you need to step and think outside the box. So as much as there is structure in in the, in the organization and anywhere leaders operate, a creative leader seems to create a structure freedom environment, clearly articulate the missions, values, and expected outcome, but give the team room to experiment and define their part. So, as much as we have the structure where the mission is articulated, values are given, expected outcomes are, given. But then a creative leader will create the room to experiment and define, the followers' path. This means setting clear objectives and timelines, but allowing flexibility in execution. As much as you set the timelines, you expect when they can finish, but there's a flexibility in the execution. In the execution process, you should give flexibility. But as a leader who needs accountability, who drives accountability, yes, you have the timelines. You need to finish by this time, the tasks I've given you, but I won't restrict you to how you execute it. So far as you're on the mission, the values you are, putting in execution, and then the expected outcome is okay. A leader can give that room. Creating system for evaluating ideas based on impact, not conformity. You understand me? It
Yeah.
involves creating a system, evaluating ideas based on the impact of those ideas, not necessarily conforming the people to exact, traditional way of doing it things. In such ways, you will not really bring out the creativity in them. Leaders should also reward effort, learning, and creativity, not just the sources. You understand? You reward the effort the person put in it. Since you're an emotionally intelligent person, you know that the person put in this effort. You recognize those efforts. You recognize that the person is learning, and you recognize the creative aspect of what the person has done, not just the end game and not just the sources. By I mean tying innovation goals, accountability metrics, such as how often teams test new ideas or learn from failures. I mean, Leaders can ensure innovations does not drift into chaos, but instead becomes a repeatable and scalable process. It's not just a fluke that the person, did that or did they came out with this, but as much as you give him the freedom to execute, there's a structured way, there's a systematic way where that you can see that the person moved from step one to step two, and that process of success can then be repeated. In the repetition of that process, you can even scale it up because you then have the steps the person took, despite it wasn't on the standard way of doing what I mean was set out, but the end result brought out an innovation and creative success. So I'll say yes, innovation without sacrificing the structure and accountability. You need to give the room, but then as a leader, you follow the process. You reward when you need to reward effort. You reward learning and the creative process of your followers. I think with this my explanation, it will cut for the question leaders fostering a culture of innovation without sacrificing structure and accountability. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So your explanation is so much on point. What I picked from it is so more of allowing the employee or the team members to
Team
be able to
members.
deliver deliver without necessarily micromanaging. Once you have the
Exactly.
vision, mission, and they are following what they are doing will at the end of the day achieve the same result, then you can reduce or cut out micromanaging sort of. That is what I picked from what you
And,
submitted.
and, and, and
Yes.
it's exactly the point. Yeah, no
Mm.
micromanage. Flexibility in execution.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And viewers, our second guest speaker is also in. I'd like to introduce him. He's in the person of Chaplain Nana Kofi Nimako. Um, Hello, Nana. So, Nana Kofi Nimako is an ordained minister. Okay. He's here to put his camera on, but I'll still introduce him along the line because of time. He's an ordained minister of the Seventh Day Adventist Church, an endorsed chaplain, and a certified counselor with the Ghana Psychology Council. Currently works with the Southern Ghana Union Conference of SDA and serves as public campus ministries, Adventist chaplaincy ministries, health ministries, and counseling services director. He served as a church administrator for 16 years before his appointment to the headquarters. He worked as a district pastor for the Tapa West East Kikam district and also served as executive secretary for the Southwest Ghana Conference of SDA headquarters in Sekondi Healthcare Chaplain at the Nigel Memorial Adventist Hospital in Sakradi. For his education, his basic education at University of Mines and Technology, Basic School in Sapa, and attended Adisadel College in Cape Coast for his secondary education. He attended the SDA Teacher Training College, and attained a BA in Theological Studies degree from Valley View University, where he was a student representative council president. He holds an MA in Guidance and Counseling degree from the University of Cape Coast, a Master of Chaplaincy, Healthcare and Campus degree from the Adventist University of Africa, Kenya, and a PhD student at Philippines Christian University. He served on several committees. He loves to play basketball, soccer, lawn tennis for leisure and reading. Yeah. So you are very much welcome, Mr. Nana Kofi Nimako. Okay. So my next question goes to the Fred. What daily habits or mindsets do you believe help leaders remain original thinkers?
Um, Thank you for the question. And just to reiterate the question, what daily habit or mindset helps leaders to remain original thinkers, to be an original thinker? I mean, creative leaders make curiosity and divergent thinking part of their daily rituals. You need to have, you need to be curious. You need to have a divergent thinking part. I mean, thinking outside the box, finding new ways of doing things, not satisfied with the status quo. You know, this could be reading books from various disciplines, engaging in conversations with people outside your industry. You just don't need to be in your industry. If you're an IT person, you only read books about IT. You need to explore other industries or keeping a creative journal. You need to keep a creative journal. When some ideas sparks in your mind, you need to put them down. I mean, keeping a creative journal. I mean, we all have some times where we somebody say daydreaming about something, thinking something wild. But the ability to pick a book and write it down, journaling, maybe it's not an idea instantly you could explore, but putting it down, one day you could come back to it to explore those ideas. I mean, that's to capture random insights, as I've said. Uh, and you have to intentionally make time for solitude. You need to have times to be with yourself. I mean, be with yourself, reflection, and I mean, unstructured thoughts. It doesn't need, you don't need to have, I mean, structured thoughts all the time, although it's good to have structure. Sometimes you need to, as I said, daydream. Give yourself, I mean, I'll say, the leisure to daydream as much as you could. If you could get time a little bit, need not to be. Nowadays, you find yourselves, the little time we get, we are on our phone, we are on something, but sometimes you need to push away all those things that distract you for you to be alone for some time. You need to practice it at least. You need to have about 15 to 20 minutes solitude time in a day if you could. Meditation, in meditating, in reflecting about activities you've done, about activities you want to do, reflecting on all those things. You have to also have the ability to ask more questions. You need to ask more questions. not even just to, asking people questions by yourself. You need to ask questions on a daily basis. Ask yourself more questions. Why is this so? Why is that so? Can this improve? Why is this thing done this way? Can it be done in another way? Those kind of processes also engages your creative mind. Importantly, you need to maintain a mindset of play over pressure. You need to give yourself permission to imagine without judgment. You need to give yourself that ability to imagine things without, I mean, judgmental thoughts as much as possible. And you need to have a regular exposure to art, nature, music, or different cultures to expand your imagination and keep, your thinking fluid, that moves you away from your structure processes. For example, for me, like this, during the COVID time, I took the opportunity to go and so in my leisure time, anytime I get, I need to be in a creative environment. Do something creative, not just imagining. If you are at, the way our mind works, um, some people say yes, our mind is in two ways. Some is a structured part of us, then is the explorative things, art, music, and other different cultures. Learning about other different cultures also exposes your other side too. Because these processes can help, build a habit of a and answer the question of what daily habits or mindsets help leaders to remain original thinkers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's very true. As a leader, you need to make time. You need to make time because these days it seems our 24 hours in a day is not enough. So you need to set some 10-15 minutes, like you rightly said.
Because of our gadgets,
Sorry, we need
I
to,
said you were talking about like 24 hours, which is not enough. Yes,
yeah,
sometimes we struggle. But then I
yeah,
saw that it's our gadgets around us. You find yourself very zoomed into watching something on your phone for a long period of time.
yes,
If we
yes,
can, be disciplined and put away those things,
yeah,
then have about 15 minutes
yeah,
solitude time with yourself, then
yeah.
your creative thinking fluid would refresh.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So anything that distracts us, you know, unnecessarily. So we have to be disciplined enough
Exactly.
to be able to put those ones or set those ones aside so that we can be able to ask important questions, like you said.
Mhm.
Very important question. Can we do things differently? What about this? What about that? And the moment you make up your mind to be able to ask questions, the questions will drop. The things you need to ponder over to help you as a leader take proper decisions, more, better decisions. The questions will just drop. That ability to, do things that way will come on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So please, how do you encourage team members who are hesitant to share unconventional or risky ideas? How do you encourage team members who are hesitant to share unconventional or risky ideas?
Okay. First of all, I would say fear is the enemy of creativity. Fear is the enemy of creativity. If you are a fearful person, you're always wondering what people will say when you do something differently. It really blocks your creative abilities. So fear, if you want to be creative, you need to put away fear. So as a leader, um, you need to focus on creating an emotional safe space where ideas aren't judged prematurely. You understand me? Where ideas aren't judged prematurely. You need to create that emotional safe space. Because in our first this thing when we're talking, a creative leader needs to be emotionally intelligent. It's not only your IQ, your emotionally intelligent.
Hello, hello. I think Mr. Fred's network is gone off. Just a moment. Hello, hello, Mr. Fred. Yeah, sorry about that. I think his network is he'll join us very soon. I believe his network is bad. But what he was saying, fear is the enemy of creativity. Fear is the enemy of creativity. Because if you are afraid of failing. So you that will prevent you from trying. For all you know, when you try, you'll be okay. For all you know, when you try, you can do it. But because of fear, so you remain in your corner, you remain in your comfort zone, and then you can go rest rusty, or you wouldn't be able to achieve what you want. Mhm. So right now we are going on a short break, after which we can get back. Thank you.
Leadership Summit 2025. Theme: Ethical Leadership for Sustainable Economic Growth. And venue: British Council, Accra, Ghana. Register now. Contact +233 55 959 4433. See you there.
Hello. Yeah, we are back. Thank you. So, Mr. Fred, Mr. Fred, please, are you back? Okay. So I'll read comments from our viewers. Yeah. So we have Madam Belinda Machi showing us that she's very much interested in the program. She's enjoying it. And then we have Matilda Akosia, same. We have Boachi Deborah, same. And then In God We Trust says, leaders must reward efforts. That's very true. That's very true. Thank you, Frederick. Okay, so this is in response to our first submission. In God We Trust is push away things that distracts you. Well spoken, Frederick. In God We Trust is fear is the enemy of creativity. Wow, good to know this. Good to know this. Then we have data link sites. He says very true, Mr. Sari. So he was responding to some of the submission of Mr. Fred. Then we have Mr. Kweku Sinti Mensah. He says, beautiful presentation. Yes, indeed, it is beautiful. As we are learning a lot, we are learning new things a lot. Then Mr. Kweku Sinti Mensah says, fear is the enemy of failure. Fear is the enemy of failure. Okay. Then Equia Madam Equia can come, says she is enjoying the conversation. Thank you so much, Madam Equia, for enjoying our conversation. Okay, so Mr. Fred, please, are you back? Hello, hello, Mr. Fred. I think Mr. Fred is not back. Hello, Mr. Fred. Okay, so our viewers, I would like to ask you one question. Can any of you share a time when a creative risk you took as a leader didn't pay off and what you learned from it? I'll take it again. In fact, this question goes to Madam Ikuya. Can you share a time? Madam Ikuya can come. Can you share a time when a creative risk you took as a leader didn't pay off and what you learned from that? Madam Ikuya or any of our viewers can share this experience. Today, I don't know, the network has been acting a bit. Hello, in God we trust. Uh-huh. Okay. Ikuya is typing it out. So my question again was, can you share a time when a creative risk you took as a leader didn't pay off? A time when a creative risk you took as a leader didn't pay off and what you learned from it. What you, that leader, learned from it. You took a creative risk as a leader. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off. What did you learn from it? Yeah, the question has been displayed on the screen. A time when, as a leader, you took a creative risk and it didn't pay off, and what you learned from it. So, in God we trust has given us his answer. He said, "Learned my lesson to make things work better in the near future." Yeah. And then Selina Osenyako, she said she just joined and enjoying the conversation. So, Madam Selina Nyako, our question is, can you share a time when a creative risk you took as a leader didn't pay off? And then what you learned from it? What did you learn from it? What did you learn from that experience? Okay. So Madam Ike has responded. She said, I learned that sometimes your organization is not ready to allow their people function to take the initiative to change reward tied to performance. Okay, I read it again. She said she learned that sometimes the organization is not ready to allow their people function to take the initiative to change reward tied to performance. Wow, this is deep. This is deep. Thank you so much, Madam Mikia, for your response. So can we get another response from from Mr. Kweku Sintim Mensah? Do you have anything to share on this? Okay. So I would also like to know from our viewers, how do you strike a balance between data-driven decision and intuitive creative thinking? How do you strike a balance between data-driven decisions and intuitive creative thinking? Mr. Ishmael Bonny just joined, and he says, very insightful session. Thank you, Ishmael. Thank you. So, our question is, how do you strike a balance between data driven decisions and intuitive creative thinking? Hello. Hello. Yes, I'm waiting. Today this evening we are all learning. How do you strike a balance between data driven decisions and intuitive creative thinking? So, Madam Selina Osenyaku says, learn that any extra work to enhance the output of an organization puts staff off and need to be motivated with just good interpersonal relationships. Learn that any extra work to enhance the output of an organization puts staff off and need to be motivated with just good interpersonal relationship. Thank you so much, Madam Selina. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Any other comments? I don't know why the network is being very stubborn this evening. So our next question is, what role what role does diversity of thought, background, or experience play in driving innovation in your original what role does diversity of thought, background, or experience play in driving innovation in your organization? Yes. Who will give us his or her thoughts on this question? Yes. Okay. Someone should tell us what he or she has learned. What new thing have you learned? What new thing have you learned from today's session so far? Even though the network is not on our side this evening at all, but by all means, you might have learned a thing or two to build your capacity as a leader, to do things differently. So I'd like to know what any of us have learned. I'd like to know what any of us have learned. Okay, so Mr. Kweku Sintim Mensah says a creative risk that didn't pay off as an HR leader, managing factory workers. I once took a creative risk by introducing a flexible scheduling pilot program. The goal was to improve work life balance. I'll take it again. A creative risk that didn't pay off as an HR leader, managing factory workers. I once took a creative risk by introducing a flexible scheduling pilot program. The goal was to improve work life balance. Thank you so much, Mr. Kweku. Thank you. Okay. So Ejai wants the question again. So the question is, what role does diversity of thought, diversity of background, diversity of experience play in driving innovation in your organization? That's the question. So, in God we trust is answering my earlier question that what has anyone learned from this evening section? In God we trust says, I learned that fear can cripple your creativity. Yes, I learned that one too. It is very true. Fear can cripple your creativity. See, we have a lot of potentials in us. Our people created, God created us. We've learned so many things, we've schooled, we have different types of experience and all, education, interactions, and all that. So definitely we build certain level of capacity. We know a thing or two. So it is time for us to put whatever we've learned, bring it to bear and move forward. But it is normal that you'll be afraid. You think, what if I fail? What if I don't succeed? What if this my investment goes bad? What if this? What if that? So from this section, we have learned that fear cripples creativity. So we have to move forward. We have to spend like 10, 15 minutes a day in doing what, in asking the right questions. Ask questions how we can get out of our comfort zones to move forward. These are some of the things I learned this evening from Mr. Fred's submissions. We ask more questions on daily basis. We imagine things, bigger things. We get out of micromanaging our people, but so long as we explain the vision and mission to them, the structures to them, we allow them to function, but we support them emotionally and all that. We give them the right training and we allow them to function so that at the end of the day they'll be able to deliver instead of micromanaging them. That is not the best from his submission. That is also another thing that I learned. We have to create a emotional safe space for our team members also. All this will allow them to function very well. So Mr. Asion Tete said, lack of courage can be a challenge to your creativity. Lack of courage, yes, lack of courage can be a challenge to your creativity. That is true. Lack of courage can be a challenge to your creativity. Yes, so you must have courage, you must be bold, you must believe in yourself. That is why when you set few you get out of unnecessary distractions, like always scrolling, always scrolling, always scrolling, and then you focus, you set some 15 to 20 minutes, like our guest speaker said, in a day, and focus. Within that time, you'll be able to do a lot of positive, actually, you can imagine a lot of positive things, a lot of things can go, and then you encourage yourself, and then you move. By so doing, your creativity will come to pass. So yeah, that is very good. That's very good. That's very good. I'm enjoying this. Yeah, I hope you are also enjoying it, and you have also learned more. Can we share more of what we learned from today's section, or what you also have in mind about what we are discussing so far? Another question I would like to know is, with rapid technological change, how can leaders future proof their creative thinking? With rapid technological change, how can leaders future proof their creative thinking and stay ahead of the curve? With rapid technological change, how can leaders future proof their creative thinking and stay ahead of the curve? With rapid technological change, how can leaders future proof their creative thinking and stay ahead of the curve? Wow. So, um, Madam Selina Osenya, who said, bullying can drive off creativity. That is very true. Bullying can drive off creativity. Thank you so much, Madam Selina. Thank you. Yes, this is coming from a very experienced leader. I know her in person. She's such a great leader. Thank you, Madam Selina. So, Eja Eno says, the role of diversity can greatly contribute to the making of practical and a more innovative decision in solving problems, as people are likely to have diverse personal or no experiences. I'll take it again. The role of diversity can greatly contribute to the making of practical and a more innovative decision in solving problems, as people are likely to have diverse personal or no experiences. Thank you, Eja Eno. Thank you. Thank you. So, Mr. Asion Kuyona Tete says, you can create test model to validate your decision with smaller group, and when successful, you can deploy it on a larger scale. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. In other words, if you have a new method or new model or an idea, you try it on a small scale first. Then now you become successful. Then you move to the main group, or you do it on a larger scale. That's so true. That's so true. That's so true. Thank you so much, Mr. Tete. Thank you. Thank you. So another question I would like us to think through is, what advice would you give to emerging leaders who struggle with self-doubt in their creative capabilities. So, what advice shall we give to our emerging leaders? Sometimes on our program, we have university students or newly promoted managers who join us on this our monthly talk show, and then they learn. So for experienced leaders, for very experienced leaders, what advice will we give to these new, young, emerging leaders who struggle with self-doubt in their creative capabilities? What advice, what guidance can we give to them to make them solid, to make them capable, to make them believe in themselves, to be able to, have their creative capabilities work well. In God we trust says, foster a culture of innovation. Foster a culture of innovation. Okay. That means you as the leader, you should foster a culture of innovation. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, if you could implement one practice in every company to cultivate original thinking, what would it be? Someone should tell me. If you could implement one practice in every company to cultivate original thinking, what would that be? What would that be? Hello? Yeah. Okay. I'm Selena Nyaku says they should not look down on other staff, but rather learn from those under him. Perfect. 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 So you mean the leader should not look down on other staff, but they should learn from but he should learn from those under him. Okay. 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 Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Selena. Any other? Any other? So you see, all these responses are coming from the various rich experiences that we all have. So we are talking from what we know that has helped us. So we are learning from each other. Because before somebody brings this idea or contribution, it means it's something that he or she might have used at her workplace or at his workplace, or in his or her business or somewhere, and it might have worked. That is how come it's being brought. So we should also learn from it, and then it shall go well with us. In God we trust is align creativity with purpose and strategy. Let me read it again and think about it. Align creativity with purpose and strategy. Sure, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Otherwise, then your creativity is just going to be just anything. But it must be with purpose. The purpose of the business, the strategy that is going with the business, or with the organization that you work for, or if it's a church leadership, or whatever. Definitely, there is a theme, there is a goal, there is an idea. So your creativity must align with the purpose and the strategy to meet that expectation of the group, or expectation or the purpose of the team that you are leading. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. God in God we trust. Adam Mekua says new leaders should remind themselves on what capabilities that brought them into leadership, affirm to themselves the value they bring, and not be afraid to try out their ideas and creative abilities. I take it again. New leaders should remind themselves of what capabilities that brought them into leadership, affirm to themselves the value they bring, and not be afraid to try out their ideas and creative abilities. Wow, this is deep. That is very true. Very, very true. Very, very true. Very, very true. Thank you so much, Madam Ikea. Thank you. In God we trust is yes, original thinking must be connected to your bigger goals. Original thinking must be connected to your bigger goals. Original thinking must be connected to your bigger goals. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So all too soon, we've chalked our 1 hour. It's already 8 o'clock. And we want to use this opportunity to thank our leadership talk show guest speaker. Thank you so much. We are very grateful for you to take time off your busy schedule. To take time off your busy schedule. Hello. To take time off your busy schedule and be with us. Thank you so much, and God richly bless you. And to our wonderful viewers, thanks so much for making the time to be with us. And then I apologize. The network, I don't know, today has been something else. The network has just, I don't know, but you've done so well, and you have, okay, Mr. Nana, his network keeps acting. The,
So
the
strange today.
network, yes, you're on the network. I think everywhere the network is just something else.
So strange.
I'm using three networks. That's how come I'm even able to sustain it a bit. I
Yeah.
don't know. So I was saying a very big thank you to you for making time out of your very busy schedule to come and give us these golden points that will help us um, be better leaders. And then you taught us so many things. Thank you. But then before you go, I would like you to give us a final thought. Give us final thoughts that we would put in our pockets and be thinking about till next month.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Happy, and sorry once again for the cut in the network. It's so strange today. Well prepared, everything was on point, but happenings. But I've been creative here myself. This has also pushed me to my creative arena, whereby I needed to think outside the box. So I just called my little boy to take his tablet, then
Yeah.
try to, use his phone because I have two phones here and they're all giving me issues. So anyway, uh, we've talked a lot about creative leaders and my point where I was, where fear is the enemy of creativity. We need to step out of fear when we want to create something. Remove out doubt, believe in ourselves, and step forward to be creative in whatever we do. We should have a desire to bring out something new because the DNA of God in us always looks to do something new. So in ways, if you keep something long and you don't use it, it becomes bland. So we need to always, find ways to do something new. We shouldn't always be on the same trend of doing things. At least I know people find comfort in, doing what they know already, but to be creative and innovative, because the century in which we are entering, knowledge is abound. People know what a lot, but what do we use that knowledge for? What can we use that knowledge for? We have the AIs, we have, a lot of knowledge around. If you are a standardized person, you may not thrive in this environment. You need to be very creative. You need to be very innovative. You need to ask questions. You need to be curious. You need to be very curious. Thinking outside the box, literally. It's a phrase of, sentence we use often. Think outside the box, but it should be literally that, to think outside the box, not to be conformed. Even the Bible tells us not to conform, but to be. Somebody who can, transmit, and create something new. So what I will leave you with is, give yourself time. Every day, at least 15 minutes, reflect, ask questions, meditate, and it will sharpen your creative mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We should give ourselves some few minutes, 15 minutes, and then think through, think outside the box, right? And then ask the right questions. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. In fact, I've learned a lot from your submissions. Personally, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. And I'm very sure our viewers have also learned a lot. And they have also shared their opinions on, some of the questions or some of the topics. So once again, thank you so much, Mr. Frederick Nana Kwesi Asare. Thank you so much. And our precious viewers, we can't thank you enough for also making time to join us on monthly basis and learn and also share your opinions on all topics that we bring on board. Thank you so much on behalf of the Global Leadership Group. Say a very big thank you and hope to see you, hope to come your way again next month, the last Sunday. We'll share our flyers. Thank you so much and all the best. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you.
Summit 2025. Theme: Ethical Leadership for Sustainable Economic Growth. And venue: British Council, Accra, Ghana. Register now. Contact +233 55 959 4433. See you there.